Oh, Jesus. Hey gang, Will here from the Ashland Fly Shop, and welcome back to the regionally famous Ashland Fly Shop video fishing report for December 15th, mid-December 2020, closing the book on 2020. All right, well, let's talk about what's going on. We know you want to know, so here we go. All right, backyard fishing, Rogue River. Boy, it's been great. We've got some rain recently. It's been awesome. It rained like all day yesterday. It was fantastic. So it's really nice to see some of these flows popping up. So what we'll probably see here with all the tributaries and stuff coming up is pretty much the end of the summer steelhead fishing. Although, you know, you never totally know. So, you know, once the flows drop back down to a reasonable level, getting out and swinging a fly in your favorite run, you know, you never know, especially on the road, because there's always fish coming and going. But pretty much it means that all the fish that are kind of stuffed in there waiting for the tributaries to really open up, well, they have really opened up now. So, so the fish are up there doing their happy thing, and that's great. We want to let them do that so we can have more fish and more fish. So, so yeah, that's probably what's happening now. I will say that the hatchery flows are stable at 800, so you have that, you know, hatchery area to fish from the hatchery down to probably Big Butte, Casey Park, kind of right in there. You've got that that chunk of water there, and a lot of times we can see some of the last hatchery fish kind of really push up in there, so it can be a fairly decent thing to do, to run up there and fish that hatchery water just below there. And see what might be going on in there. But that's, the Rogue's definitely going to be, it's definitely going to have a lot of color in it. It's big. We're probably going to need several days or a week until it kind of settles down, until we kind of see what's going on out there. So I would probably take the Rogue off the radar for the time being. Holy water section, still the flows are very low. The holy water will not be affected by the rise in flows on the main river from the tributaries coming up. You know, they're still holding that flow really low to fill up Lost Creek Reservoir. So the holy water will continue to be low and be a good place to fish. As long as we have this overcast and rain, you can expect to see blueing olive hatches in the afternoons. Heavy to light. I would expect mostly light hatches, but they can be happening, and that's good. Can be a little tough with streamers this time of year. You know, I think the fish get quite lethargic with the water being so cold all day, but it's never a bad idea to try a streamer. If you kind of have a really good sense of where the fish are, nymphing for them can work pretty well. I think I've said before, I've never really had a lot of success nymphing up there, but I know a lot of people that do quite well. You really want to be looking at midges right now, really small flies, you know, double fly rigs, really small droppers, tungsten zebra midges, you know, things like that. Really small stuff, little blueing olive style emerger nymphs, things like that. You know, would be a pretty good bet right now. And then just your standard blueing olive mayflies for, you know, for dry fly action. Cripples, I would have a decent supply of a few different styles, but you should be able to fool them. They get pretty picky, but a few different styles should be able to fool them. And, you know, you're talking 16s, 18s, 20s. You want some pretty small stuff up there. So holy water can be a pretty good bet through this time of year. We'll keep an eye on that for you. We'll talk a little bit about the coast, a little bit about what we know, what we don't know, what we're willing to share, and what we're not willing to share. And basically, when we get a rain like this, it's kind of rings the dinner bell. It's like, yeah, okay, this is really, you know, we had a couple little shots and some pretty decent fishing. I heard some pretty decent salmon fishing happening with fish really kegged up in low flows and stuff like that. But this rain really gets it moving, and everyone who's been sharpening their hooks and sharpening their knives and getting ready to go, this is what you look for. So this rain really gets all the, you know, the first round of the winter steelhead into the coastal streams. This will really start getting them nosing up in there, kind of that first push, and it'll open up, you know, most of the systems will be open and flushed out, and the fish will start moving in. So if you've got favorite spots, now's the time to start thinking about getting out there, It's still kind of on a crest, but it'll be dropping pretty quick. It looks like there's a little bit more coming this week, but not too much. So I think the next 7 days will probably be a pretty good bet. So that whole sort of coastal area within shot of us, you know, Northern California, Southern Oregon, is definitely time to get down and take a look. You know, Lower Rogue, Checo, Smith River. You know, it's all about conditions, and it's you're almost more a weather person than a fisherman. But it's time to take a look at the coast. The last interior river to sort of hang on is the Upper Klamath, and that can really hang on for a while. So it's been looking pretty good. There's still been some very, very nice fish caught in the Upper Klamath. I feel like it's slowed down a bit. It's definitely more like true winter style fishing with the colder water and really kind of finding the fish. But you know, the flows have still held pretty steady through this. Kind of like they are on the Rogue, around 1,000. You can expect the color to be off a little bit more around I-5 and in that section, but if you're fishing dark patterns, you know, it's still a good bet, even if you've got a couple feet of visibility. So the Upper Klamath really kind of hangs in there through you know, through this time, and we'll start to see some bigger fish move in there, whether we call them winter steelhead or late summer runs or whatever. There will be some nice fish that start showing up in there a little bit with a little bit more size on them. So all kind of the same stuff that we like to use up there, the kind of moderate to larger dark patterns, hothead type flies, things like that. And then your standard nymphing patterns will work good too. The hothead stone flies, eggs, prince nymphs, droppers, you know, things like that. All really standard. Red copper johns, all the really standard stuff for steelhead fishing that we do on the Rogue and on the Klamath. But that is definitely one of the last interior rivers besides the Trinity. If you go further down in California, or the Feather River, that we will see that kind of later run summer, early winter steelhead, where you can kind of fish an interior river and still have a good shot at a fish. So Klamath is definitely still one to have on your radar for sure. Interior Northern California can still be a good bet. I'm just going to mention, I haven't been down there in a while, but the Upper Sacramento is open all year. It's one of our favorite places to fish in the winter. Winter trout fishing can be really, really nice down there, really beautiful and quiet and really sweet place to fish. And then further down, you've got the Lower Sacramento. A bunch of our friends fish down there throughout the season, and that is always a very solid bet going through the winter months. So you know, reach out to some of these fine folks if you want to do some fishing down there, whether it's walk-in, getting some information, or doing a guided trip. Lower Sacramento is probably one of the best bets on the West Coast for getting into some solid action, you know, during the winter months. Lastly, I will mention the North Umpqua. We don't talk about it a lot because the conditions change so much up there. Especially in the summertime, it's hard to put a finger on it, but it can be a very good winter fishery, and I think a lot of the businesses that are up there would really love to see you this year. If you want to get up there, maybe spend a couple days and spread a little money around up there. I believe Steamboat Inn is intact. And they'd probably love to get some bookings. I know it's been particularly difficult since the fire and stuff. So the North Umpqua can be a very good bet. I would say it's a tiny bit early, but those fish do rush up there pretty quick. They get up there pretty fast. And you know, with the flows up, it can be a little bit easier river to read than in the summer when the flows are low. You know, if you're kind of new to that, it can be a little bit easier to poke around up there and feel like you kind of have a shot at a fish. And I think that winter run is, you know, in pretty good shape up there. So really, really tough summer for them. Really pretty devastating fire went through there. So you're going to want to keep an eye on sediment in the river and color and stuff. But I think the North would be a good bet. You know, you're talking about large dark patterns. You can use weighted flies up there in the winter time. So that's a little bit different than the summer regulations. The regulations are a little bit easier up there, I would say, or they ease the regulations off. But there can be a real shot at some very nice fish up there. So the north is really one to take a look at through about the first part of April. We like to look around up there, so it's a good bet too. All right, folks, that's what we know this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. As usual, we appreciate it. Go out there and shop local for the last 10 days that you have to fill those stockings. Everyone will certainly appreciate it, and I know we certainly will. And if there's anything we can help you with, please give us a call here at the store for any up-to-the-minute information. If you're doing some traveling or some fishing in our area, we would always love to see you and love to help. So thanks so much. We'll see you next time.